Here's our finished drawing from exercise 10, which was the gear, just to show you. Just going to use this as another seed file for our next drawing. Our next drawing assignment is going to include some multiple part components. We're going to do kind of a little architectural, mini architectural, I guess we'll call it. And we'll use this as a template, but you can see how I've used some ellipses to indicate where the large tooth elevations and sections are taken from. Put our dimensions on here, printed it out, and again you have a folder assignment 10 in the first class. So let's start this next project. Do a file, save as. We'll use this as a seed. We're going to call this one assignment 11. Hit save. And we'll go clean this up now. We'll just go back to our 3D model. We'll do a fit view. Make sure all our levels are turned on. I may have to go to global display here. All on. There we go. Select the whole thing and delete it. Go to our sheet view. We're going to have a bunch of dimensions that are missing here. We'll just cut right across the top of this. Hit delete. Take out that dimension. You'll notice it left the cross hatching because we did that in the sheet file itself. Okay, this is cleaned up. Back to 3D model. We'll go check our levels. In this case, what we're going to do is kind of a simple three-dimensional birdhouse design. So it's going to have multiple parts and pieces on it. Let's reconfigure some of our levels. So we're going to rename primary to, let's just right click and say rename. We're going to call this one front, back, left side, right side. These are all 3D. We'll right click and create a new one. This one will be called roof, and roof left. Right click, another new one. This one's going to be called roof right. Right click, another new one, and this one's going to be called perch. So we have to make sure we get stuff in the right levels here. So we'll start with our front. Double click on that, make it our active level. I'll draw this in white, level 2. I'm going to kind of make these dimensions up as we go along. We're going to keep it fairly straight and regular, not too fancy. We'll just draw. We'll go to an isometric view from a top view, and we're going to go to our solids modeling toolbox, and we're going to create a shape using our smart line tool. Front will be on this side, so we're just going to start with a point, hit our F key, and we're going to make the width of this birdhouse 5 inches. And we'll make the height, we'll go straight up 7 inches. I'm going to go X and Y. So I'm going to go here, go back up 7 over, we'll go over 1. Same thing on this side. We're going to go up 7 and move it. I just hit my space bar to put it into XYZ mode and move it over 1 in this direction. So it's going to have kind of a tapered feel to it. We'll roll this around to a front view so we can see a little better. Now we're going to put the roof pitch on. We'll put a 45 roughly, so we're going to go, we'll say 3 by 3, 3 by 3. That gives us a 45, and then we can just trim this profile off. So there's the profile of our birdhouse. And what we're going to do is make this a shape now. So we're going to go to our 6, 3. We're going to set this to automatic, set our maximum gap to 0. Just left click on one of these objects, left click around, and then we'll rotate it back to our isometric view. So there's the front. We're going to extrude this now using the R1 tool, solid by extrusion. We just want to left click on our object. Still thinking here, I guess. There we go. And we're just going to pull this out. We're going to use some 3/4 inch wood to build this. Yeah, let's go 5/8. That's a little too thick for a birdhouse. So just key in 5/8, and there's the thickness of the front panel. Now I want to copy this to the back panel, so we're going to just left click on it anywhere, and we're going to hit S for side, and we want the depth of our birdhouse to be 5 inches. Now the back of the birdhouse is supposed to be in a different level, so we're going to go 5, 1, change element attributes, and we want to put, I'll change the color so it shows up a little differently too. So we're going to put the back in yellow and just left click right here. So now we can see the front and the back of the birdhouse. The reason I'm kind of doing things at angles is because we're going to do some Boolean things to, make it's easy for the computer. It's going to make it look more difficult for us. Let's put a hole in this front panel while we're at it, and we'll say we need to go up 3 inches, 2.5 inches for the hole. So I'm just going to left and right mouse button or tentative right there and hit F. And I'm going to go up a distance of 2.5. And we're going to put a hole in here that is 0.7 radius. 0.7 radius. Looks a little low, so let's pull it up another inch. That looks better. So it actually went up 3.5 inches, so 1 inch up. Now let's cut it. We're going to use our cut solid tool. We want to go all the way through both sides. Just left click on the front panel, left click on the circle, then left click again, left click one more time, and there's our hole. If we look at this in our illustrated mode, we'll see our front and back panel. We can rotate this and see how they line up. Everything's good. And we'll rotate this back to an isometric. We want to perch just below the hole, so we're going to drill a 1/4 inch hole through the wood. Excuse me, had an itch in my ear there. Had to move the microphone. We're going to drill a hole in the wood just below the circle, so we'll kind of see where that tentative point. Hit O. We'll go up a distance of 2 inches, and we're going to put this in at 0.125 radius. And then we're going to cut that hole through. Alright. Now, what we want to do is put the left side on first. So we'll change it to left side. And I'm going to change my color to green. And what we want to do is draw a block. Let's see if we can do this right off here. We're going to hit F. We'll go up to the top. We're going to come out. So I just snapped here, snapped to the top. You notice how that rotates my compass. I'm going to pull this out 5/8 and just roll it back, and you can let it snap right to this back point. Now that's crooked. In other words, hey, it looks like something that I would build. So we're going to roll it up to a front view, and we can see now where we need to make some cuts here. First of all, we're going to just draw a block across the bottom, a 2-dimensional block, and we're going to cut this solid with this block and clean that right out. See how nice and smooth that makes that corner? Now this other one's a little more difficult. We're actually going to trace a line right down across it. And what I did is I snapped, and I want to make sure it says join elements here too. Make sure your join elements is on. You always want to see your compass. So once I snap 2 points to the main front or back of the birdhouse, it rotates my compass, and I can just continue this down. Just go back up and let it connect to make a shape here. Okay? We're just making a shape to use as a cutting profile to take this side, cut it with this shape, and now we have a cut on here that lines up with the slope of the roof. If we take our mirror tool at this point, 3-5 mirror, make sure it says vertical axis and make copy. We just left click on this side panel, move it to the right side, and we have both sides now of the panel. We'll go back to an isometric mode, and we're going to change that panel to a different color. We'll go with red, and that's going to be the right side, front, back, left. Maybe I didn't. I'll use this one, and then I'll rename it. That's new level, and we'll just come here. We'll just say right side there. Okay, so we're starting to get there. You can see now if we look at this as an illustration, we'll kind of rotate it around. See how nice and clean everything is? And we forgot to put a floor level in this thing, so when you start looking at it, you'll notice things that you may have forgotten. So we're just going to right click here under the level manager, and we'll just say floor. And learn how to type. There we go. So to do the floor, what we need to do is draw a profile, because that's got slope sides on it. So we need to figure a way to draw this in so that we can cut it to fit exactly. If I roll this up to a front view, I can see this profile here. Maybe what we need to do is draw, we want to be in our floor level. I'll draw this in this red color. I'm just going to draw just a straight line. I'm going to copy that line straight up 5/8, 5/8 of an inch. I'm going to draw, and if I hit spacebar N, it allows me to snap to a nearest point. And just draw a line up here. Same thing here, snap there and hit N for nearest. Draw a line right there. Now if we turn off, right click and say all off, you'll notice everything turns off but my floor level. And we'll rotate this around to an isometric view. What we want to do is make this into a shape, but we want to trim it first. We want to trim this to this and this to this. Now we get this bevel that we're looking for. See on the sides. We're going to, now we make it a shape. Just left click again, left click one more time. Now that's a shape. We need to see where this is actually at on the model, so we'll go ahead and turn all our levels back on. Just say right click and say all on, and we need to select that profile, and I want to rotate this to a right side view, and there I can see my profiles on the front. So I'm just going to move this, and you see how my compass is vertical on the edge, so I have to hit S. Now I'm going to hit enter and place it right here, so it's right on the inside. If we go back to our isometric view now, what we can do is just take our extrusion tool, grab that right by the edge, and as we pull this out, we can pull it to the inside. Oops, it doesn't like me right there. Oh, I know why. Hit enter, and it will just come to this inside edge right there. You see, it goes beyond, but what I want to do is let it snap to that inside edge, and then it'll fit right into that flat portion. So when we look at this now, rotate it around, you can see that that nice floor piece is just perfectly beveled to the inside. Okay, let's roll it around to an isometric view again. And what we're going to do is the left side of the roof first. And again, I'm just going to use a smart line to start this. Change our color to, I'll go with this light blue or teal. We're going to go to roof left and just draw. You're going to trace, hit it to front view, snap to the top edge and just bring it down to the bottom edge of the outside panel. That actually gives us our angle. Then I want you to take this line and copy it straight up, not mirror, just copy it straight up 5/8. Okay? If we roll this around to a front view now and do a fit view, we can connect this point. Oops, just draw straight. Actually, I just want to draw a straight line here. And I'm just going to come down here to what I would like to put in for an overhang, and I'm just going to kind of eyeball this. Just draw a straight line there. If we do the same thing and use our 7, this is our 7/5 tool, left click, 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 left click. There's our profile. We're going to put that together as a shape. Doesn't want to go together. Why? Because this line right here got put down too far. It actually made the shape because it drew the line in, so hopefully that'll work out okay. And if I put my mouse on it, just let it hover, it says shape, complex shape, so we're all set. Now we don't want to extrude it yet. What I want to do is pull that forward so it has a roof overhang of 2 inches towards the front. I'm going to take my move tool, grab it right by this upper corner, hit T for top. We're going to pull it ahead 2 inches. Okay. If we roll it around to a right side view, there's our overhang. And what we're going to do is just extrude this, grab it right by the top. We'll hit F for front, or S for side, pull it down, hit enter, and I want a 1 inch overhang on the back, so I tentative point, hit O, and then moved it 1 inch. Well, tried to move it 1 inch. There we go, 1 inch. If we turn this around to our isometric view now, there's one roof. Let's just look at it as an illustration, and we can kind of roll it around. Everything's fitting nice and tight. We're going to roll it to a front view. I won't even take it out of this mode. We see how this vertical line, what we're going to do is mirror that on a vertical axis, make copy, just snap to the top peak. You're going to have to hit F for front and place it right there on the same spot, so it mirrors it to the other side. And then we'll change this roof to roof right. Should have a roof right here. And we'll change the color to this brown. We'll place it right there. The last piece we have on this is a perch, which is just a cylinder. We'll change it to a wireframe mode in isometric. We want our perch level. And you can see how these things, everything that has information in it is bold. Anything that does not have any data or elements involved in it is not bold. So we'll go to perch. We'll put this in a I want something that'll show up. I'll use this red color here. We go to our cylinder tool, points AccuDraw, we'll go to the back end, snap to the edge of it. We don't have to key anything in. Bring this out. We know the thickness is 5/8. We probably want, we'll say 2 space 5/8. So it's 2 5/8 long. And if we render this now in a illustration with shadows, we see our birdhouse with the perch that we can kind of roll around, look at it from the underside. Now everything is as close to tolerance as you can get it. So the dimensions on this are going to be very tight to put this together. It's going to be a very accurate birdhouse. So what we'll do now is roll it around to a front view, and we could actually do our dimensions just like this without even taking it. If we change this to a hidden line view, I don't know that I want hidden line. I thought maybe just illustration. I'm trying to find one that those edges are going to be visible anyway. So we can show a front view. If we rotate this to a right side view, you can see it takes out any hidden lines and just shows us profiles of this object. If we rotate it to a back view, we can see that that's not going to show the whole, it's just the back end. If we want to see a plan view of the top, we just say top view, we're just going to see the roof outline. In this case, we'd probably want to see the wireframe or some type of view that's going to show the hidden lines down below. And we have that 2D top view that we can utilize for that particular function. So if we're going to do this drawing, let's do a export visible edges with hidden lines of this top view, so people will be able to see that information. So we're going to say File, Export, Visible Edges, View 1, View 1. It's going into the active file. Symbology is going to say I want you to go into 2D top. I want your color to be blue. And I want your style to be 0. I want you to include the hidden lines. I want those to go into 2D top. And I want the color to be red and dashed. And we'll hit the preview button on that just to see what it looks like. You know, and it gets a little bit complicated there, but our other views are going to take up for that. So we'll just say export. Close that out, and let's go to our sheet file. And we got a bunch of junk here because we still had some reference files from a previous model that was in here, so we'll just delete all those. And we'll attach our new one from scratch. So the first thing we're going to do is attach our I'm in the wrong. There we go. Assignment 11. What did I do with it? Well, I guess I'm working off my zip drive, so we'll hit open, and we can see we have our 3D model. Our standard views are going to be top, and we'll just say we don't want it 1 to 1. We probably want this at it's only 8.5 by 11, so let's say 4 to 1, or 1 to 4. 1/4 scale. We'll place that right on the top. We'll move it up near the top here. And on this particular view, you're going to go to your level display, look at this top view, and just turn off everything but 2D top. So we're left with that information. Now, we want to go to attach, same drawing. This time we want the front view, 1 to 4, so it's going to be 1/4 inch equals a foot. hit OK, and we'll place that right there. We do want to line up our peaks with this piece, and we can go, what we probably should do is go back and do on our 3D model our other views with hidden lines, visible edges taken out. So we'll turn off 2D top, and we're going to say File, Export, Visible Edges, View 1, Symbology. This one's going into 2D front. Preview and export. We'll roll it around to a right side view. Turn off 2D front. This time we change it to 2D right side. 2D right side here. We'll hit our preview. Don't know. Yeah, we'll leave the hidden lines on. Hit export. Looks good. Now we can go back to our sheet file. We can turn on in this view. For the front view, we only want to see 2D front, so we're going to turn off everything but 2D front, and then we'll attach the same drawing at a right side. This time it'll be right side. Okay, we'll just place it right here for now, and we'll move it over here, maybe up just a little bit. Just try to get these lined up before I get too far ahead. Maybe take that top view up just a bit, give me some room. And on that 3D model for the right side view, we're going to go to our level display, right side, and turn off everything but 2D right side. Whoa. Right. Nope. There we go. Turn off the roof. Now finally, or I shouldn't say finally, I'd like to show in this drawing an illustration of our model. So we're going to go back to our 3D model view. We're going to rotate this to an isometric, and what I want to do is export, and you can actually, you don't even need isometric. You can kind of roll it up a little bit. You can play around with that perspective tool to give it some view, and we're going to say File, Export. Actually, let's make a level for this first, because this is going to be a weird one. Let's just say Perspective, 2D Perspective. Okay, close that out, and now we're going to do File, Export, Visible Edges, Active File, View 1, Symbology is going to be 2D. And I just create 2D Perspective. We don't want to see any hidden lines. Let's make this green, solid. Hit our preview. That's what our 2D drawing will look like. And just say Export. Now, I want to, because we put some perspective on this and it's not necessarily an isometric, we need to save this view. So we're going to say Utilities, Saved Views. Utilities, Saved Views. We haven't done this before. Hit Create. These two little hands say Create Saved View. From View, view type is Save View, and we're just going to call this one Perspective. Hit Enter, and then left click on the view, and you'll notice this perspective shows up. Now you'll see why I did this when we go back to the sheet file. I want to put a perspective up here at a little smaller scale, maybe half of what this is. We'll put it in at like 8:1. We're going to do a reference, attach, same drawing, But this time we're going to go down here and see where it says saved views. I hit the little plus sign. I see my perspective here. And I want this to go in at 1 to 8. Hit OK. And we're going to place it right here. It has the same perspective, but now what we need to do is go to our level display, go to perspective, and turn off all the levels except for 2D perspective. And now we're left with a nice little line drawing of our birdhouse to show somebody what it's going to look like when it's completed. If we come back out of here, we can see all of our drawings are set, except our levels aren't right. Alright, this one's title block. Top view, 2D top. Oh wait, something else. Oh, 2D perspective's on there, that's why. Front view, 2D perspective needs to come off. Right view, 2D perspective needs to come off. Because when I added that in, it didn't delete them. I'd already deleted those out. So we're going to look at this. Let's play around with our text. We're going to copy some of our text files around so that they line up properly. And we're going to come in here. One of the things we need to do is start putting some angles on these cuts so that somebody knows if I go to my dimension level. Oh, I used to have one here. Yeah, we'll make one. There. So we got our dimension level. I'm just going to take my red 3. I'm just going to draw some lines out here that we can use to identify angles. Put one out here and put a vertical one right there. It's going to be the same on the other side. Actually, we can do the angle from this bottom here. So now we'll go to our dimension angular, make sure we're in our mechanical style, and we'll just say what's the angle from here to here. Is this thing gonna mess up on me again? Yeah, it does. For some reason it worked in the classroom, but anyway, we'll go back to our tools, dimensions, dimension angular. Oh, it's a 90 degree, that's why. So we need, mind me, it's a little late, but I'll take this line, move it over here. Then we'll see if it gives us the angle that we're looking for. Dimensions, angular dimension. From the X. So that gives us our 45 degree angle here. It's going to show this cut. Oops. That one's going to be a 45 too. I'm just not sure how we're going to show it properly. Actually, that wouldn't be because it's coming in at a weird angle. It's coming up straight. Keep losing my tools. Dimensions, angular, from Y. Let's try that. Illegal definition. I'm going to take this front view and I'm going to turn on 3D model. See if that helps. Oops. There we go. 135. I can put it right in here, and then I can just extend this line up. There we go. Better. This one here is just going to be a 45 too, I believe, so see if I can get this one to work. Yep, there we go. And I'll extend this line out with my extend element tool. Modify it. For some reason it wants to jump out there when I don't want it to. There we go. So we've kind of got things laid out here, and now we can start putting some of our regular dimensions on. If I use my smart line, this one's going to be, now remember to turn on your front view so it picks up that radius if you need to. This is a circle, so we want to go diameter. We want to make sure it puts a center mark in. So there's 1.4 inches. Another full circle here is going to be 0.25 inches. We'll start putting in some dimensions for lengths, and if we change this to true, it goes perpendicular off the side, so it gives us a true length on these angled pieces. And let's do this side for that particular dimension. We can show the bottom at 5 inches. We want to show the width of this piece. Oops, don't want that. I want dimension linear then. Now if I bring this across and hit my enter key with it locked in there, then when I lock it in here, it's going to give me 0.63 as the thickness of that wood. Same over here. Hit enter, and there's 0.63 again. I think 5/8 is actually 0.625, so we can actually go to our mechanical under units and say let's go to 3 decimal places and hit the save tool. When I say yes to all, it'll automatically adjust our dimension readings to full 3 decimal places. Again, hit enter and hit end for nearest. You have 2 different lengths. Oh, I know what I did. I used a little thinner wood up on the top because I made this 5/8 of an inch. So again, good with 3-dimensional is a good way to figure out your mistakes. If I made a copy in this direction, what I did is I made this line 5/8, so it made the wood thinner. So we use a little thinner wood on the roof, so it's fine the way it is if you drew it the same way I did. We'll look at, again, we don't dimension to hidden lines, but we can certainly dimension this side. Try to pull it out without touching too much stuff. This side, that's the same length because it's a 45, so we don't need to dimension that edge. That looks okay. We can come over here on this side and start dimensioning our roof, including our overhang. So we'll use our smart dimensioning. We can go true. There's our length of the roof. We want to mark our overhang 2 inches here. I think we made it 1 inch in the back. And we'll go 5.625 overall, because I just moved that 5 inches to the back, so that's why it's a little narrower in the front. We can put an overall height on this side. We'll go from the peak to the bottom. It's going to end up being 11.237 inches tall. We want this peak, so we want somebody to be able to cut this out. I'm going to change it back from true to view for a second. Again, if things start getting a little crowded, I've got some room to move things out here a little bit further, so things, take your time to make things look neat. And readable. Again, we'll take this one and we can modify this so it brings it out away from these dimension lines, separates the text from the lines so it becomes easier to read. And let's see. I want to try to get, be nice if I could get this angle here, but wants to go all the way around to the back side. I don't know if I just drew a little hidden line here. See if that'll work. There it is. 45 that way. And that's probably going to be easier to read, so I'm being a little fussy, but and then we'll just delete that one. I think what the carpenter's going to want to know is what this angle is. So if I drew a line from this point, and kept it going straight up, take this line out and this dimension, that's what I want. Now find, now you see it didn't select the first thing I wanted here, so I need to right click, and I still didn't find it, so I right click again, right click again, right click again. What happened to my line? Maybe I deleted it by accident. There. There it is. See how it turned a little purple? Left click there, left click here, and now we get our true angle, 53.1301. We could probably save our carpenter a little headache by going down here and saying, let's keep our angles to 2 decimal places. I think it'll still fit okay. And then we can just extend this line up a little bit. So we end up with 53.13 for this angle that he's going to need to cut in order to make that a proper piece. So if we come down here and we do the same thing, I'll just draw a line out here a ways and draw a line, hit spacebar N, just draw it up that far. And if we do our smart line, just right click until just that short line shows up. Too many lines here. There it is. There to there. We can see that that angle is going to be 81.87. And they should be able to figure the angle for the cut off that one. Alright, let's see what else we need for dimensions. We got the overall, we got the base, we need our perch dimension, length. So we'll put that in here. It's probably going to be about the same as the, 2 inches. Get our hole size. Let's look up here. Width and depth. It's beveled. So we'll show overall top of the roof line from here to here. And from here to here. That's pretty much it. I think that should allow us to build this thing if we needed to. Now we'll just juggle some more things around. This will be our top view. We're going to edit this one to say, come on, front view. This will be a right side view. This will be a perspective. We could get double. There we go. Call this one Birdhouse Project. I did. Must have stole this from somebody. Date. There. We're going to keep this one as scale as noted. Because this one, and we'll just copy this over here, and this one needs, so this one for the perspective, it's not really scaled, so we're just going to say scale NTS, not to scale. Down here for the orthographic views, we're going to say quarter scale, 1:4, all orthographic views. And that covers us. Do the fit view. We're going to do a Control P. File, select Bentley driver. I'm going to go to my documents. CUT120 utilities. There's my printer. Pen table attach. You see we're still ending up using the same 5 colors on our 2D exports. When we look at this in full view, we can see our perspective, our notes, everything looks good. Close it out, and we're going to say print. We're going to put this in our homework directory. It's going to be assignment, and why I'm one number off, assignment 10. I bet I'm missing one. Let me go to my removable disk and just make sure I'm not giving you some bad. Yeah, this one should be assignment 11. I'll just take out the sheet portion, delete, and hit save. And we are done. So you get 3 views, multiple parts on this piece. We've put it together in a 3-dimensional mode. I think a carpenter could look at this. Another way to do this would be to take each part separately, separate it from the 3D model, and lay it out flat. So if you wanted full-size templates, you could actually take the wood and lay it out the way you wanted to on a 2D sheet and make templates for it. But I think this works pretty well, and I'm going to try to keep things going a little bit more detailed, requiring you to be a little bit more focused for each assignment. So we're going to keep kind of building on this as we go. Probably get into some bigger sheets for next week. Okay, thank you.